In the early 1600s, a young German poet by the name of Joachim Neander used to love to wander through the trees and wooded valleys not far from Dusseldorf. In fact, one place became so well known as his inspirational valley that they named it after him. Valley in Old German is Tal, so Joachim Neander's valley was Neanderthal. And about 200 years later, they made a most interesting discovery. I've got one of them here. It's a skull. A human skull. It's called Neanderthal. Oh, it used to be very prominent in museums, particularly favourable with those who like to show that ape-like creatures had slowly evolved into people. Well, you won't find Neanderthal in many museums anymore. Despite his protruding eye ridges and flattened skull, you see doctor after doctor has discovered and pointed out that Neanderthal simply was like that because he was suffering from vitamin D deficiency. We've known for a long time that this rather flattened skull had more brains in it than yours or mine, in fact about 200 cc's. No, poor old Neanderthal is not the missing link and never was. He's a human being like you and I, but he merely suffered from a vitamin deficiency. I don't think Joachim Neander would have been too impressed with any of those theories because, you see, his poetry is still well known today. In fact, one of the songs he wrote is known and sung all over the world. It's called Praise to the Lord, the Almighty, the King of Creation. Well, I guess for many years people have noticed that science is not just a question of test tubes and laboratories. Science education is just one way of making the students of today the people you want them to be tomorrow. So if you teach them that, you know, we are just animals, then don't expect them to behave like human beings. I remember one parent coming to me and saying, look, our schools put on psychological counsellors, we've got drug problems, we've got more social problems than we've ever had, we don't know what's going on. So I said, can I talk to your teenager? And I talked to the teenager and said, what lessons did you do today? And they said, well, our first lesson was in chemistry and we learnt that man was worth 5 cents worth of chemicals. And I said, well, what was your next lesson? And well, our next lesson was biology, and we learnt that we came from the slime and we're nothing more than mud that's turned into people. And I said, well, look, there's your reason you've got an image problem. Man was made in God's image, not the overgrown image of a hairy, brainless ape. So that's the source of their problem.
Right. Well, you've got a couple of specimens here on the table. I presume they're specimens. I mean,
well, here, Dean.
Okay.
Get ahead. You need to.
All right. There we go. This is. I was going to say my brother-in-law, but that's not the. No, this is.
Yeah, that's a chimpanzee.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I like to do is hands-on demonstrations of just how unique man really is. I mean, you can hold him, and I'll get my friend here, Arthur here. He's only half of what he used to be. Most people today are growing up with the belief that we're so similar to monkeys and gorillas and orangutans that we must be related to them in somehow. And they've forgotten that we're so different. I mean, the reason that you and I are sitting here today talking about monkeys and they're not in the zoo talking about us is that the differences are really great. I mean, we've tried to teach monkeys how to talk, and for all practical purposes, we've got nowhere. They can't do it. And the reason why man can talk is that man alone was made in God's image, and God speaks, so we speak.
Mm.
Oh, so it's fascinating, and that's the sort of thing we use in debates.
Is that a real skull? Or?
Is that a real skull? Well, Dean, if I took real skulls to schools and the students dropped them, I'd be in real trouble. So no, we make all this into fiberglass casts and things like that.
All right.